Is Uptober officially Broketober? Are we all going broke in October as Bitcoin continues to decline? Will $60,000 hold for BTC? Are we still in bullish momentum? A lot of things are going on. We're going to talk about it. We have Magic joining us to break down the charts. What are some key levels to look out for Bitcoin? What are some levels that are worth scooping up, as well as some altcoins as well? We do have, speaking of altcoins, we have a few deadlines to share with you. Will the SEC appeal the Ripple ruling? We're going to share some news on Sui. We're going to talk a little bit about Phantom and what they're doing to bring new users in to their platform as they get ready for the Sonic upgrade. We have that and much, much more. Also, ICP as well. Dominic Williams video we're going to share with you. We have that and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, home of the entertainment focus.
Wait, you're not back in the house?
No. I never left the house. I slept here last night.
Oh, wow.
Still in the house.
Wow.
Anyways, we take old, boring, stale information, repackage that turkey up in a fun and sexy. It's fall, Thanksgiving's around the corner, and where is our 70K Bitcoin?
I think 60,000 holds.
You know what? I think too many people are on the bullish October narrative with due reason. I think that there's so much behind history repeating itself. Not exactly one for one, but I do think that correlations are exactly that. They're correlated, right? And time again, they repeat themselves. Maybe not in the exact same way, but with that said, I think that a lot of people are positioning themselves for October to be extremely bullish in the very beginning. And so, you know what? When we look back at October and we see where October opened up at, which, you know, right now is going to be at a flat 60, we are going to get that exact number that we're looking for, right? Which would be extremely bullish October. If we open up day one at 60K and then the 31st, we're at 75, I mean, that's up, what, 20%, right? 25%. And if I were to say to you, hey, is 25% on par for October?
Yeah, it is.
Exactly. So I think that's where it is. I think the market's going to play exactly like we're expecting it to. But I'll say this. I think that a lot of people are positioning themselves way too early. And for that reason, we're seeing a lot of liquidations. I think that the smart money's coming in and hammering down on shorts and taking advantage of overzealous investors. So
You think we see big outflows from the ETFs today because of everything going on?
Yeah. I do think that the next few days, I would say this week. That's why we were talking yesterday. I said, hey, look, I think you should be very cautious when it comes to a leverage position. That was kind of like our highlight when we were looking at the charts. And I'm like, look, be very careful with leverage right now. Swing trades are at a really good spot. If you think that, you know what, say you want to buy right now at 60K, or you want to buy it, maybe we drop down to 58 or something. That might be a good time to get in, right, on a swing trade or just do a chunk buy. And so that's where I'm at for this week. I am still 100% on course for a massive October. I do think that's just a little stall here at the beginning, which doesn't surprise me because there's so many people that were very, very, very bullish on October.
It's like we can't catch a break, you know? Things start looking up and then some dumb shit happens, you know?
We're in the same spot we've been at all since February.
October's canceled? October's canceled. If you're wondering why the markets are down.
David, we're 11 hours into October and you're already canceling it?
I did not make the meme. The meme made itself.
But you chose the meme.
I found it. You're the one
You went searching for it.
You made the thumbnail. You put Broketober.
Because it's comedy. It's a good thumbnail, bro. You know, today's thumbnail was Uptober. And then I was like, well, that just sounds stupid. so why not? You know what? I'm a man of very witty sense of humor, you know? And
a lot of people are saying we're going to get Chopvember next month.
Chop what?
Chop-vember.
Chop-vember?
November, but chop sideways.
Yeah.
I didn't make it up. I'm just saying.
Now, but here, one thing to take away is that we're still in the same spot we've been at since February, right? We broke 60K, and we did put in an all-time high. But other than that, I mean, we've just been consolidating in a 8-month channel. God bless. That's been a while. So there you go.
It has been a while. If you're wondering, well, why is Bitcoin down? There's a couple of reasons. One is this. Now, we are in a foreign news channel, but this affects our markets. And so a lot of geopolitical tensions going on, missile strikes, and what's going to happen, World War III, everyone's panicking. Oh, my God. And then you have this one, which is potentially bigger than that. Well, I don't know if anything's bigger than World War III, but this is the longshoresmen. These are the port and dock workers. And this man right here is the president. And I'm not going to play the video.
President of the union?
The union, yeah. Let's just listen.
These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. Get laid off because they aren't coming in. They're not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work. It's going to cost the companies money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you.
So we have that as well. Now in
That's
Vegas,
what they're supposed to do, bro.
No, I get it.
The union
Vegas.
President is supposed to make it sound like it's the end of the world. If they
I
don't
believe
sign
the largest hospitality union is in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we have a big union.
And so they went on strike in the 80s. They almost went on strike live, and then they usually come to terms. But again, these are all things that traders, investors look to. They don't like to know the answers to the questions they have. We're going to have a strike. We don't know. That's not good. Or is there going to be a war globally? We don't know. That's not good. And so they don't like, what's the word I'm looking for? Things being up in the air.
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty.
Thank you.
Uncertainty in the market.
They don't like
volatility.
uncertainty. So where is certainty? I am certain that the SEC is going to appeal. You can see here their deadline is October 7th. They have until October 7th to challenge the July 2023 ruling by Judge Torres that deemed only some of Ripple's sales of XRP violated securities laws. And the big one was secondary sales. So essentially you going on Coinbase or Kraken or any platform that has XRP and buying it from there, those were not security purchases. Now the SEC has 6 days to whether they want to appeal or not appeal. I think it's a pretty foregone conclusion that they're going to probably appeal, right?
I would assume so. But I mean, the appeal, you have to appeal. You can't just say I'm appealing and just not have any
Appeal.
Yeah, any merit behind it, right? You got to say, hey, we're appealing because this part of the court case was unfair, or this evidence was excluded, and so, or there was some kind of bias, or
Do you think this?
And so, what are they going to say? I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of things that they could say, I guess, but not surprised. I think they'll go through with it, but I mean, I guess they could just let it go. I'll say this: I think it's very unlikely, but at the same time, I would understand, right? Because the SEC's taken a lot of L's, right? They've court case after court case. They go in front of congressional hearings, and they ain't looking like they're doing very well when it comes to regulating crypto, right? And so they've dropped the ball there as far as, hey, we're the branch of government that regulates crypto. We're doing a good job. No, well, I mean, losing court cases is a stain on your reputation, right? And so perhaps they find themselves in a situation where,
has got a lot of stains, not just in the court.
They do. And maybe they just say, you know what? let's not appeal
It's
it.
poop stains in his underpants.
A lot of poop stains, yes. But let's not appeal it so that way we can just move on and not focus on our loss.
He
Right?
also has pee stains in his underwear as well, because as you get older, you have a hard time.
What is wrong with you, man? Stop.
I'm trying to be Robin today. Do you think this will hamper the XRP's price movement?
I don't think so. I don't think either way. I think the appeal. We got drugged to this court case for so long.
I mean, XRP is still at 60 cents.
At this point, I don't know, man. I don't think that that if you went through the whole court case and you were holding XRP, I'm pretty sure you're not gonna be like, oh, they appealed, I'm selling. Like, that's not happening.
I think I agree with you.
And so I think it's fine. And then once again, just because of the negative connotation that this court case has had to their reputation, I wouldn't be surprised if they just don't appeal it and they just let it roll, just so that way they don't get any more bad press.
Let it roll. Let it roll. We have Magic joining us. Magic, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I was just enjoying your singing there.
Thank you, buddy.
I was not.
Magic,
enjoying
you're a
the
good man.
singing at all.
That's why we keep bringing you on, because you juice up my ego. I appreciate you, bro. Just kidding.
There you go. Yep.
Magic,
Still gotta
Bitcoin, we're going down. A lot of uncertainty globally. Nice bounce at 61.5. Rob and I were looking at the Bitcoin chart yesterday, and obviously that massive channel on the daily. And the lower end of that, I believe, is what, $51,000. But there is a little midline there, right at 60K, that potentially is strong support. What are you seeing on the Bitcoin chart?
And then real quick, I'll just show you here, just our buddy Forrest from Sistine Research put this out today. And so it is same time next year. And so last October, we had the
the October 7th attacks on Israel.
Yeah, so that was when the war kind of started. You see the price action there afterwards. And then I opened up a trading view myself here. And so take a look. I don't know. Let me know what my chart says here, if there's any validity to this. So this descending channel here that we have, the bottom support line is saying 51,000 when we go down there. And then I'll get your thoughts there on that. Is there any merit to Forrest's call on October war being bullish? History repeats itself. Or does the descending support channel line, does that hold? What's up?
I think there's something there to it. I think he's probably going off of prior Octobers where we get a dip before a rip. And, as of right now, depending on how things shake out in the next couple of weeks, I don't expect anything different. So there definitely is validity to it. And there's even validity to yours. It's just a matter of when does that become valid, So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and get my screen up. Sorry, I thought I lost you guys there.
We got you, brother.
There we go. All right. So we're talking about 61.5. This is a very simple chart here. I'm going to get rid of the Q3 open. We talked about that being key last week. You've given it up and you've come down to the box. In this case, hopefully the box of peace and prosperity. So 60,754.50 was the bi-weekly pivot we spoke about, and now you've generated two new pivots, and the monthly and quarterly pivots. So those are good for the next 30 days, and then the next 3 months. Subsequently, they generated here right at that same level. So we were talking about if we got that pullback, this is going to be the area we want to see holding. And whether that's like the midline of a channel or whatever it is, from an average standpoint, it's very important, and I'll get rid of the bi-weekly so you can just see the quarterlies. And historically, these are great things to keep an eye on in terms of trend. For the real macro high time frames, you want to see these things trending up. That it looks good, nice and orderly fashion. You're not giving up your higher lows, and you are right here generating one that is technically a slightly lower low than this. However, nothing is fully broken yet. But the moment you do start losing this like $60,500 to $61,000 area on a more material closing basis, maybe daily or weekly candles, do things start to look like that bottom line of your channel are going to become very valid, as this would still be a lower high in terms of, how things are going. So it is one of those things where you want to stay objective here. But if you are looking at this opportunistically, which I am, This is a place that if you were looking to put on some risk, you would start weighing those options and maybe doing so depending on your trading style or investing style. Another confluence for it is, well, if we just look at the overall range for the year, okay, so we're just doing all of 2024. We've got our yearly VWAP on, so you can see the theme is the year. And then I've got one average on this time, and this one is not the yearly. It is a bi-quarterly or semi-annual is a better word for it in this case. So every 6 months. And so you can see that our 6-month average here is generated at the bottom side of our support, shown by the yearly volume profile. Your gold pocket from your most recent low to high sits there. You've got the 6-month average, and then just above that, you have your yearly VWAP and your averages here. So if this area does not hold, this really is the make or break point that a bounce has to happen, right? Below this, and I think that you've got a very real shot of seeing the low side of that channel, and everyone's going to be disappointed, including myself. I don't know what your channel looks like or how you drew it, but if we just put the lines on there and we said, we draw subjective lines, I have it going significantly lower than 51.
When you say
not
significant,
not a fun thing to.
okay, Magic. But
Yeah, I would.
let me ask you this question now.
And then also, I just want to just double down with what David's about to say.
How do you know what I'm about to say?
Because earlier this year, you said you were saying, hey, this 70, what was the Bitcoin all-time high?
73.
73.
Yeah. A little over.
You were saying that could very well have been the top, and you said it with conviction. It wasn't like you just kind of loosely threw it out there.
I think he said he was 50-50 when we had asked him.
Yeah,
I was, which was at the time a very bold statement given where we were in the cycle.
And it doesn't seem that crazy now. I mean, I still hold true to my intuition is that we're going to the 100K range here. But,
Yeah, I don't think the top is in, but that's not what I was going to say.
but yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I'm curious to see what you.
What I was going to say, Magic, is I kind of equate charting a little bit, not 100%, but a little bit, kind of like wine, right? Somebody gets a glass of wine, they smell it. We can smell different things. We can taste different things. Our palates are different. And so when you're drawing your trend line, you're using the wick. Some traders don't use wicks. Some traders use the opens and the closes. Why do you use the wicks? And then you said significantly more downside. What is that number if that channel, if price goes to the bottom end of that channel?
I would, the bottom end of that channel, I would look at it as something like this. Let's see if I can pull it back up. There we go.
Yeah.
I chose this one because it encompassed the 3 touches that you want to see. And most people are trying to regard this as a broadening wedge. So I just thought, let's go with that. If you were drawing it more as David did, I'll show you in a second how to do that. But I would be looking for it to fill in this average at that point, somewhere near if this is like doomsday, guys. This is something that we're not looking for until things happen. But in that instance, if you were writing your journal, you're like, I want to have a plan for everything. This is where you would probably end up, somewhere in this region. You'd be looking for the lows somewhere between 30 and 40K probably. And it would be a not fun ride down there, and I don't think that's the most likely scenario right now. I'm still kind of one of those 50-50 guys, but I still only have exposure in terms of holding cryptocurrency. I don't have any macro short positions. So, maybe my bias is showing a little bit there, but if this rolled over, to your point, it wouldn't seem as crazy because you have a very mature formation that most people are trying to regard as a bull flag. And if it rolled over and broke structure, I mean, it looks like it's probably not a bull flag. Right. At that point, everyone goes, "Oh man, this was not what I thought it was."
It's a broken flag.
Which it does happen though. That happens all the time in trading. Like, people are wrong. I'm going to be wrong one day. I'm probably going to be wrong tomorrow or today. Who knows? But in regards to a channel, I'll get rid of this because it's in the way. I like to use the Fibonacci channel tool when I do them, or you can just use a regular channel tool that comes through here, a parallel channel. They're all up on my
a lot of shortcuts.
It is a lot of shortcuts, a lot of tools that I used to use a lot. Some of them I still do, some of them I don't. But you want to start with the top of your channel, and you want to find the next point. So our next point for this one is obviously going to come in right here. Okay. So we can see it's got multiple touches when we do that.
And
And
then
then we're
Magic-
looking for the next point.
Magic,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I don't like to do that when people are doing charts, but maybe we have some people watching that are new to technical analysis. The tool you're using, you said, is a parallel channel tool, and you essentially take the midpoint and draw it down.
Sort of, yeah. Fibonacci channel tool is the one I'm using. And the reason I like it is it gives you expansion capabilities, and we'll talk about that later. But this is a really underrated tool. So we're just starting at the top of the rally here. We're looking for our next connecting point. This is the one that we like. It makes the most sense. It really gets the trend pretty well. Some people might choose a different one. That's okay. Now, between these 2 points that we just selected, and I'm going to get rid of that anchor for a second. Between these 2 points, you want to find your third touch point between here. Okay, so between your top two, you want to look in this area that's in the middle for your next connecting piece, because that is how you're going to get what's called a trend, right? We're looking for a trend. We're looking for something that can somewhat predict a trend. You know, if moves were similar, what would it look like? So that third touch is going to come down to like something like this. So to, you know, Robin's point, this is the channel that you would then have on your chart if you were going off of, you know, more of a classic style charting and, you know, utilizing these tools rather than utilizing a trend line. Not that trend lines can't work. It's just, you know, I like this because it kind of breaks things up and it makes it nice and clean for you. Everybody likes a good clean chart. But in the instance that it like breaks out, you can see I've already got it up here. I have the -1. I'll put a little more color to it because I know it's probably hard to see right here. So that's the -1, meaning that if you took this channel and you superimposed an exact channel like it on top of it, it would give you this as the next one spot, like meaning the top of the channel. And you could have a -0.5 and keep it going. You can do the same thing with like a shift fork, things like that. But, you know, they're just tools that are available to people and they're free on TradingView. Just so everybody knows, these are free tools on TradingView. So you don't have to pay to use these. They provide them. You just have to open an account and you can start using it. And you can trade off these fairly well. And these will give you ideas of where to go, because they operate similar to like expansions and extensions in terms of like almost standard deviations. But not to get too into the weeds. I know that I can
Thank you
do
for the
that.
explanation, man. That was great.
Yeah. So, all right. But
So-
to Robin's point, if we drew it his way, he is right around like 51K. It's in there somewhere. So he would be correct.
So what do you think is more likely? You think more likely we push the upper bound of it? Do you think it's more likely we retest, or do you think it kind of depends on what some of the uncertainty?
The retest is most likely just based on statistics here. So this quarterly and monthly pivot are actually identical. You can see we've essentially tapped them. I usually give them 1% grace in terms of what we're expecting. So if we come within 1%, I consider it hit for my statistic purposes. So it'd be something like this, and we have. So to me, it's tapped. We're getting the retest now. And so what we need to see is price holding. If it dips below here, there is support right in this region. But that is really the like, hey, we can't afford to lose that at all. Like we can't go below that. We don't want to live below this area that we're bouncing at now. But this is the area that if you were looking for a risk on position, to me, this is where I would be looking. Nothing's broken. It's a higher low and a trend. If it goes sideways here, maybe even does wick below this eventually, puts in a little formation, great, that's fine. But if you start trending below it, that's when things get bad. So for me, I think the most likely thing is you're above the average. You've come back inside this range after deviating it. Range deviations are some of the best trades because generally when you get a deviation, what do? You get your deviations here, you rotate the range, right? So you get a deviation here, you come back to the point of control, deviate it again, you're back in. You don't want to lose the range, right? So we need to see our support hold. And if so, we target the top side of the range, which puts you back in that $70,000 conversation. And, you know, the conversation we're having about all-time highs and how high can it go becomes very real again. But unfortunately, we reside in a market where, you know, price goes down. I don't even know how many percentage this is. It's not a lot. And, you know, the sky is falling, right? It just is what it is. That's just how retail sentiment is, because most of our market that we interact with is retail. So when things like this do happen, people lose their minds. But yeah, 8% move and all of a sudden bull market's off, you know, it's kind of crazy to me. So I think we got a little waiting time. And as of right now, I still think the probabilities, as long as we're holding on to this area, reside with more upside. So,
you know, I just want to say that, you know, I think the markets has proved to us why it's important to have kids. You know, you have kids, they test your patience, right? And by God's green earth, if you're still in this market, you have been patient, right? February to October. 8
You deserve
months
this.
of sideways action, and you're still here. You're still tuning in. You're still watching. You're still being active. You're still trading. You're still buying. You're still selling. You have patience, and I bet you, majority of you have kids. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. You know, Magic. I was going to ask you about a Phantom chart, but I kind of want to. I'm going to throw it to you. Do you have something to say? Go ahead. Magic, were you about to say
no,
something?
I thought you were talking to him. Sorry, no, I was itching my face.
Okay. I was going to ask you about a Phantom chart, but, you know, you look at charts all day long. Is there a little nugget you can give us? If you want to go over the Phantom chart, feel free to do so. But is there a chart setup that you're eyeing right now that could potentially, maybe a short or a long, that people could potentially use to scope out and maybe put in a position?
I'll give you two. One will be Phantom and one will be Fetch AI. Both of them are going to offer up opportunities, I think, here pretty quickly.
All right.
And
show me the money, babe.
Shout out to you guys. Fetch is a guy that joined our Discord just in the free section. He came into the free chart section and he asked me to look at Fetch, and so we did. And
Awesome.
that one is going to be very relevant. So let's see, what was his
Actually,
name?
I just had a.
Good.
One of my doctor's checkups, and Doc was like, he knows I'm the crypto dude. He's like, said, "What about Fetch?" He's like, I just got a bunch of Fetch.
Really?
Kept buying it. Yeah, and I was like,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, so interesting. You're talking about it today.
Okay.
No SHIB, no Doge.
Yeah.
Fetch.
So Mike Owen, if Mike Owen is your doctor, at least on Discord,
No, it's
then
Andy. I
that's why.
don't think Andy will really watch.
Oh
it.
man, it's close. It was very close. You never know. Maybe that's like a code name for him online.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can't find it. I just had that chart up. So we'll get to it in a second. We're just going to run through Phantom first because that's the one that we were going to talk about, I think.
Yep.
Phantom is very simple, right? We have the same averages on. So you guys are seeing a theme here. You're wanting to build a system. You want to have, you want to have a way to easily look at charts and know what's going on. In this case, we can see that the 2023 high is holding support. So we know right away that we are at key support, but we have also reached what looks like was resistance at one time. If you go out to a yearly chart, it really emphasizes that, okay? You've had two things occur here, really big drop, and you found support that is going to be extremely important to hang on to. If you go to log scale, this is not an area you want to be living at. So what we can say is that you've had a monthly swing fail here at the lows, giving you this move up. So you want to see it come back to the high side of this range is a more ideal play. If you were to lose the 2024 open after giving up the 2023 high, I actually start to favor that this probably comes all the way back down to 19 and 16 cents. You get another bounce and eventually you fill all of this in. That would be really bad. So you want to see this thing keep going. I wouldn't care for the chart as much if it reversed from here. So as far as the 3 month goes, really nice last quarter. I think most last quarter was good for most assets, but this is a really good sign when you get a candle that looks like this, where it's taken multiple lows. It has avoided the area we said we don't want to go. And so now we're looking to see if it can come all the way back up here and re-challenge resistance. We just need to know where we're right and we're wrong. We've already talked about that. Down here around the 24 open is kind of the line in the sand for us. Or if you wanted to, you could say I'm a little more conservative. If we start losing the prior quarter's open, where you can see the candles have settled up, I've put a line there for you guys so you can see that's at 58.98 cents. You'll be like, okay, if I lose that level, I'm below the 2023 high after we took it. That's not good. I'm below the last quarterly opens, the last two, where we had a bullish setup. Now it's reversing. I might be a little more conservative with my investment at that point, and I might start looking for other opportunities there. So the opportunity on this one is going to be, longs out of this area, and you're looking for the top side at 101. That's realistically what you're looking for. You've also got a more high time frame pattern that did play out that is bullish, which is what you want to see. Let me get the brush off and I'll show it to you. So we talk harmonics. The irony of this is we actually talked about this one specifically on your guys' channel. This was a setup we gave way back last year in October. It was an AB equals CD ending to a downtrend. It was a perfect sweep of the low. I think it was right here. You had the low that you swept and you've taken off since. What you've done since then is formed another harmonic, which is just a Fibonacci pattern for anyone that doesn't know. You've got the Gartley in place. And this is a very common pattern. At a log scale, it looks different because these are measurements in linear. It actually derives from the final low where that other pattern completed. And you've now come up, made A. You've got a gold pocket retrace. Okay, so that's a big one right there for this. You want to see this B leg. You want to see it at the gold pocket, and you want to hang on to this level because it becomes, I think he refers to it as a BAM zone in the books, in the harmonic trading books. There's 3 series to that. But essentially, you'll notice as it goes forward here and does complete, it actually serves as the neckline for an inverse head and shoulders upon the breakout. So the B leg, always important, right around 54.95 cents. Also very much so in confluence with the zone we just talked about needing to hold support. So if price came back here, I'm looking for a back test of old resistance to get flipped into support, and I want to take that trade if, my entry trigger is there.
Hey, Magic,
the C leg on, go ahead.
Something that kind of stands out there on that chart, it just, I don't know, just something I notice is this is the daily, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like the last 10 days or so that the movement you had there had a lot of wicks to the upside, which seems,
it is.
What do you take from that? Is I would assume that's just buyer, a lot of buyers coming in. I mean, is that kind of something bullish that you're looking at? Because it seems a little odd that there's so many large candle wicks to the upside there in the last.
You've hit resistance where you're at right now. To be upfront with you, there is resistance here. This is a 6-month average of price at 70.9 cents. It was untapped. These, like all other averages, have statistical likelihoods of being hit. So it's come up there. It is the second highest time frame that we track averages on, the 6-month in this case, or by quarterly. So you would expect there to be some kind of a resistance, but what you want to see is price. Yeah, it's having some resistance. People are probably, longing the top when they shouldn't be and filling other people's sells. But what you want to see is you do want to see buyers come in and defend this new trend it's trying to establish off of this move. And when I say that, I mean this, because, now we're zoomed out. We have a low, we have a high, and now we have what could be a higher low. You don't want to see this roll back over. You want to see this trend defended and continue up to make new highs. Now that you've completed this harmonic, you can do a lot of things with it to get targets beyond normal charting. You don't have to, have horizontal lines. What you could do is you could take like a trend-based approach, and this is usually a pretty good one. A trend-based approach is usually good. You want to use fibs, so this pattern's derived from fibs. You might as well use fibs to get your targets. The very first target you're going to have anytime you do this is you're going to take the last 2 legs. These are the only anchor points that matter, X, A, B, C, D, and you're just going to look at C from high to low, and you're going to say, man, that's the gold pocket in my 6-month average. I don't want to be looking for longs right here. I want to be looking for longs at support off of this region. So meaning I'm looking for a back test potentially of support. Do I have any averages beneath me where I can start looking at that area? I do. So below the 2023 high at that quarterly settle up we highlighted earlier, where we said we don't want to lose those last 2 quarterly opens that we've established as closing above, right? So you now have your monthly and quarterly average here. You've bumped into your 6-month. You want to see it come down here, hold this support, and then see if it can't bust on through and get through that supply. Or maybe it's even just people taking profits. Without looking at the order flow, there's really no way to tell what's going on in this. You'd have to look at the open interest and see what the delta is like to see if people, are they actually selling, or is this people taking profits and then they'll reload up at support potentially and try to push on through. That's how you want to work it. So we know where we want to see an ideal support in this case, and that also is in line with the same pattern we're talking about, the B leg, that old support and resistance. You're looking for a back test. You now have multiple confluences, convergence, however you want to word it, to say that technically this makes sense for me to put risk on in this region. It does not make sense because I have multiple convergences to say don't put money in here, wait for an opportunity like this. If that opportunity does not come, it depends on what kind of investor you are. But for me, I don't even lose any sleep over it. I look for another one.
I got kids, bro, so I'm patient.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of that, the next thing you're going to do is just measure your overall gold pocket, high to low, from the entire pattern instead of just the local one. And I'm going to get rid of the 382 real quick here because it's a little bit of a mess. And then you want to do your trend. And by your trend, what I mean by this is you're starting at the low, you're measuring to the high, and then you drag it. You can see that this is a 3-pronged tool. We've covered it before, but it's good to go over these things. It starts at the low of the pattern, goes to the high, comes back to the completion part. So you can see that the start and end are not the same number, but they're measuring the same distance or projecting for the same Fibonacci distance. In this case, your gold pocket lines up here saying that, well, we would expect to see this come back into this region. Now I'm going to get rid of this stuff, and we're going to kind of full circle it, and we'll go out of the Gartley and we'll look back at the 3-month chart, what we just talked about, saying we want to see price do what? Come back to the high side of the pattern, which is about where our gold pockets are going to start lining up, at that secondary quarterly settle up. So, you want to see this make that move. Now, beyond that, you've got your work cut out for you. And we covered this a year ago as well. This was the all-time high quarter. And we said that until you're back above here, this isn't going to do anything. So it's one of those things where you're looking to see if you can at least re-challenge and get within, spitting distance of this resistance. And if you can, maybe something will, present itself where it gives you the bias that you're going to break through. And if you do, then you're targeting essentially the 50% mark of the last candles that settled up here. So that is Phantom.
Awesome,
a little bit long-winded, but that's your long that you're looking for if you're going to find it. FET was a short. Now it is going to be looking for a long eventually. And it's a very similar setup. There is, there we go. Much easier to find the second time. FET had a really beautiful AB equals CD to the upside, reverse of what Phantom had at the lows. So this is the exact same pattern. You can see that it's got a gold pocket retrace with a 1618 expansion at the exact 1-to-1 in time, meaning that if you measured A to B and then measured from C to D, they're identical. It's really nice. Symmetry is wonderful in in trading. But again, that 6-month average we just spoke about on Phantom is also here. So a lot of these altcoin charts are going to look alike. You can see the 6-month average of price at $1.80.7 is your resistance that you wicked into at the 1-to-1 completion of this harmonic pattern. You would be targeting the 382 first, which comes in where? Right at the quarterly pivot. Okay, so that is your new quarterly pivot. It's also going to be right in the local gold pocket, C to D. A to D gives you the 382. You're looking for this zone to be key. If lost, you do have support down here at 113 and 110. And that would really be, again, a line in the sand for me that if you lose this, you're probably round tripping it and taking this low out, which is not good, right? When nobody wants to see that. So for me, I'm looking to potentially start, anything under 140, I think is a time to start looking at fetch and saying, okay, do I have a reason to get an entry here beyond technicals? Is the rest of the market behaving? Maybe I'm just going strictly off of entry triggers that I've set up for myself and my rules. And if it meets those, I know that technically this is a good area for me to put risk on for upside because of what I've done in the chart. So, the initial move here was a short. Now you're looking for longs potentially down in this region at the completion target of patterns like this. We don't talk about them a lot on here, but it is one of those things where I trade them quite a bit. It's just, there's a lot to take in with them if you're not familiar. So I try to walk through them as slow as I can.
No, this is great, man. And for those of you watching, you're essentially getting a masterclass on how to kind of chart and find areas of support and resistance. Everyone always talks about, want to make money? How do you make money in every market, right? Whether it's a bearish, neutral, or a bullish market. You can do it with trading and swing trading and scalping profits. And so these are all tools that you can.
You mean
have at your
there's not a tell me where to buy and
there is, but they're
follow
usually,
instructions
but
to.
They're usually.
You say that. I'm actually working on a strategy for that for people.
Tell me where to buy.
I've got some. Yeah, actually, but it's going to be based on data, and you won't have to do any of the math. But it's an indicator we already have in the group. But I'm gonna tweak it a little bit, I think. And
you
I'll
keep
show
talking
you what
about
it
this
looks
group
like.
magic. What's this group? If people want more magic, what's this
Crypto
group?
Hub, man. You gotta get in there. You know where it is.
I'm in there.
It's a fun time, guys. We just go in there, we hang out, we chart, we do talk a lot of smack. I know that's part of being in crypto, though. You have to be able to talk.
We keep it professional here.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I said I didn't want to drop any swear words, so I didn't want to cuss. But these are the levels I talked about before, where I said if you wanted levels for the entire year, this is a good one. Well, you can do this for past years and they're not as good, but there is a way to start narrowing down which sessions are going to provide you with levels that are better based on outlier data. And so I'm compiling that on the daily, the weekly, the monthly, and quarterly and yearly. And that way, when I go through this, I can actually go through the last session and determine in advance if I want to use those levels or not. Like this is actually a very good one. And obviously these levels have been, they're not perfect, but they're pretty dang good. If you just traded these deviations with doing no other work, you don't even got to do TA. You just got to turn this thing on. You just need to focus on entry triggers. Does it make sense for me to buy here? did it make sense for me to buy here? Was there, imbalances that I saw, or was there divergence? There's lots of things you can do to simplify it. And I think simplifying it is something that people really have to do for themselves. Not everyone needs to be good at everything or be a jack of all trades. Find something that works for you and stick to it. And then if you want to add to it later, go for it. But just don't mess up a good thing if you're already profitable or having success. There's no need to, make things more complicated than they are. So in this case, that's what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to do that on the daily, weekly, monthly for people. That way it accommodates all trading styles, the daily specifically, because people like to day trade.
Yeah.
But it'll tell you what days you want to be trading these levels and whatnot. You're not going to have to trade every day, but on the days that it tells you, maybe it's 3 times a week, you're like, okay, I've got levels this week and I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to turn my computer on and see what happens.
I'm all about convenience, bro. I mean, we're excited for that, man. We're excited for that. Magic, we appreciate you joining us, my friend. Thank you so much.
And then next week we'll do a fetch chart because I know we teased it. So
we did fetch today.
We did fetch, yeah.
I thought we did.
Yep.
We did Phantom and fetch.
We did FTM, and then I rolled through fetch pretty quick. Sorry.
We did Phantom.
I thought we were looking at the Phantom chart the whole time.
Yeah.
No, it was we swapped fetch. It's okay. I'll fill them in later, Magic. Don't worry about it. You're good. Magic.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, brother. We'll see you next week. I do want to share some ICP news. This was Dominic Williams. This is very interesting. Talking about cybersecurity.
On the public network, there are social networks with large numbers of users which have tokens inside, cryptocurrency tokens inside. But because these services run entirely on the network, they're immune to cyber attack. So they've never been hacked. They have no security team. They have no firewall. They have no anti-malware to protect against ransomware. They have no intrusion detection systems. They're cybersecurity free because they don't need it. They're immune to cyber attacks.
Very interesting. I don't know. I feel like that's something that's only going to get worse as time goes on.
So they're doing posts, social media posts.
He's just saying, like, hey, with us, everything's on the blockchain. You don't got to worry about cyber attacks.
Interesting.
So it's the beauty of ICP. Rob, I want to take a quick peek here at the biggest losers today, right? And you have Arweave is down 15%. This might be a pickup right here. Sub $20. Wow. Why is this thing going down? Is there news about it?
I don't think so. I think it's just the market overreaction to the Bitcoin price.
Yeah, but I mean, this thing is down. I mean, and this doesn't have shitty tokenomics, and so being 15% down, when really the only other big losers outside of Gala is 2 meme coins. Man, sub $20 Arweave, that's a steal. That is an absolute steal. When I did the gradings for the almanac, which, by the way, guys, it's so close. Can't wait till you guys see it. It's gonna be so sick.
We're expecting it to drop in December, so
keep it real vague.
Yeah,
it's you're gonna want I'll leave it at that. But sub $20 Arweave, you have Gala. Are you still a believer in Gala?
It still goes back to. I've repeated this argument or just kind of this conclusion a couple times, and it goes back to the same place. What is Gala's foundation? And it's Web3 and gaming. And for that to be successful, you need to onboard people. You need to have people playing the games. And we just haven't seen it yet, man. There's no giant community playing, right? I think you need to create a game that goes outside of the farming community, the degen community. We need something that's that's on a browser, that it doesn't have to be mainstream giant. It doesn't need to go head to head with Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto. It doesn't need to be to that magnitude because it doesn't take much to move the market, and especially people transacting with the native coin, Gala. You just need something to catch on a little bit. So, and we saw the failure to launch with Grit. And it came out. The game was cool. I played it. Just there's nobody in the server playing it. Spider Tanks is good. That's probably the largest community I believe. And don't quote me on that. I don't know if it's changed recently, but seems to be from my perspective that's their biggest community. But they have a host of games. I'm just not seeing a ton of people playing on it. So the developers are there. They have a good team. They have a beautiful portfolio. They got a lot of things coming down the pipeline. And so I'm just waiting for a game to break out, and I think it'll have a ton of potential. We saw what happened to Ton and their ecosystem when it came to their handheld gaming, very, very simple gaming. And so if you can get a polished game that kind of gets on onboarding a lot of users and transactions, similar to what we're seeing out of Ton as far as users, then at that point, I'm all in on Gala. I just haven't seen it yet. So I would just kind of hang out. I'd probably sit on the sidelines myself personally. And then once I see a game really catching some buzz, then I'll probably be a buyer at that point. Will I miss out on a better entry point if I bought right now? Yeah. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with missing a little bit of gains, waiting for the pendulum to swing, right? And to get those new users on.
Interesting. That'll do it for the show today. If you plan on being in Vegas next year for the Bitcoin Las Vegas conference, we do have a special discount for you. Use the link in the description. Buy your Bitcoin tickets, and we will be doing something special for all of you that used our code.
And if you buy a ticket, come back and let us know. I know Jimmy was the last one that I'm aware of that bought tickets. He bought a couple of our industry passes. So a big shout out to you, Jimmy. And if you do use our code, let us know that you'll be here in Vegas, and then we'll make sure we carve out some time to hang out with you. And come by the studio, come visit. And of course, we'll give you a little shout out here if you use the code to buy the tickets. We're really excited about the conference. Our code and link aside, we want the conference here. We want to be as active as we can in promoting it, and we want to invite all of you to come hang out with us. And we're gonna roll out the red carpet for all of our community members that do come out here. And so I'm thinking about, what do you think about like a big dinner, right? Maybe take a lot of our community members out to dinner.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah. We'll do it up in style, and then not to mention, we will have a big party here as well. We're looking to rent a large mansion and host some events there as well. So come visit. Use the link and let us know. We'll give you a shout out. We'll hang out.
Also, will 60K hold for Bitcoin? 140 of you voted. 59% of you believe yes, it will. I also believe yes, it will. 60K hold?
Nah, I think we lose it this week, and then we're off to October on the back half of October. I've been extremely bullish.
How the times have changed, huh?
I'm still bullish on October. I think that people are a little overzealous right now.
You're bullish on mid-tober.
Yeah.
Middle of
There you go.
October.
There you go.
Wow. Mid. Rocco.
Halloween is going to be special.
Reverse tornado. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It was a pleasure having you join us today. If you haven't watched our Near Protocol video, go watch it. It was really good. If not, we will see you tomorrow. Until then, peace.
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya. City.